This is the Wikipedia page for Paraprosdokian. You're listening to the podcast where we read Wikipedia pages and provide commentary. Welcome to WikiListen. I'm Victor Varnado, KSN.
And I'm Rachel Teichman, LMSW.
Right on. As a comedian, Rachel, I use Paraprosdokian types of things all the time.
Really?
Yeah, well, let's talk about it.
Let's go.
Paraprosdokian. A paraprosdokian is a figure of speech in which the latter part of a sentence, phrase, or larger discourse is surprising or unexpected in a way that causes the reader or listener to reframe or reinterpret the first part. It is frequently used for humorous or dramatic effect, sometimes producing an anticlimax. For this reason, it is extremely popular among comedians and satirists, such as Groucho Marx.
Etymology. Paraprosdokian comes from the Greek word meaning against, or beyond expectation. The term prosdokia, expectation, occurs with the preposition para in Greek rhetorical writers of the 1st century BCE and the 1st and 2nd centuries CE, with the meaning contrary to expectation or unexpectedly. These four sources are cited under prosdokia in Little Scott Jones' Greek lexicon. Canadian linguist and etymology author William Gordon Castleman argues that, while the word is now in wide circulation, paraprosdokian or paraprosdokia is not a term of classical or medieval Greek or Latin rhetoric, but a late 20th century neologism, citing the fact that the word does not yet appear in the Oxford English Dictionary as evidence of its late coinage. However, the word appeared in print as early as 1891 in a humorous article in Punch, A Paraprosdokian, which delights him to the point of repetition.
Double meaning. Some paraprosdokians do not only change the meaning of an early phrase, see garden path sentence, but they also play on the double meaning of a particular word, creating a form of solipsis or antenna-classis, a type of pun. For example, in response to the question, "How are you two?" a modern Hebrew speaker can say, Beiseder Gamor, Beiseder Ani Gamor, literally, in order, complete, she in order, I complete. I.e., we are very good, she is good, I am finished. Note the ambiguity of the Hebrew lexical item, Gamor. It means both complete and finished. A parallel punning paraprosdokian in English is a man's response to a friend's question, "Why are you and your wife here?" A workshop, I am working, she is shopping.
Examples. Take my wife. Please. Henny Youngman.
There but for the grace of God goes God. Winston Churchill.
If I could just say a few words, I'd be a better public speaker. Homer Simpson.
If I'm reading this graph correctly, I'd be very surprised. Stephen Colbert.
If all the girls attending the Yale prom were laid end to end, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Dorothy Parker.
Nice. Way to go, Dorothy Parker. On his feet he wore blisters. Aristotle.
I've had a perfectly wonderful evening, but this wasn't it. Groucho Marx.
That's solid. That's a really solid joke. My uncle's dying wish was to have me sit in his lap. He was in the electric chair. Rodney Dangerfield.
I like going to the park and watching the children run around because they don't know I'm using blanks. Emo Phillips.
I haven't slept for 10 days because that would be too long. Mitch Hedberg.
I sleep 8 hours a day and at least 10 at night. Bill Hicks.
I don't belong to an organized political party. I'm a Democrat. Will Rogers.
War does not determine who is right, only who is left. Bertrand Russell.
On the other hand, you have different fingers. Stephen Wright.
He was at his best when the going was good. Alistair Cook.
Outside of a dog, a book is man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read. Jim Brewer. Sometimes attributed to Groucho Marx. I actually have one that's not mentioned here that I always liked, which is I forgot who did this joke. but it's I want to die peaceful in my sleep like my grandfather, not screaming like the passengers in his car.
That is solid.
That's solid.
As a professional comedian,
yeah,
you must be in love with this article.
I mean, I like to know how humor works as a jumping off point, because there's no like real formula. You can't like slot A into tab B to make jokes necessarily, but knowing how they work helps you write and build things. Like, for instance, this is a really good information for writing dialogue and screenplays.
On this episode of Victor Geeks Out Over Humor.
This was the Wikipedia page for Paraprosdokian. If you've got an idea for a page we should read, reach out to us. Thanks for listening to WikiListen. To support the show, go to patreon.com/WikiListenPodcast and find us on social media at WikiListen and at wikilisten.com.